So we all knew this was coming. It was more of a when is this coming? From NPR, Trump unveils his ambitious and expensive plans for the Golden Dome missile defense. So Trump is taking a weird obsession to Israel's, what do they call it, Iron Dome? Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. Um, and he wants to have something like that in the U.S. because we need it. So if I'll read the article and I'll give my thoughts at the end and probably somewhat through it. President Trump on Tuesday unveiled an ambitious plan to shield America from missile attack by building what he describes as a Golden Dome. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, even if they are launched from space, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office. Like, I just want healthcare, bro. I just want my groceries to be cheaper. Like, what are we doing? Trump's budget and timeline for the project are ambitious. He told reporters he hoped to have it done before the end of my term. The system would cost around $175 billion, the president said, with $25 billion to start construction in the next year's budget. And remember, this is all while they have been fear-mongering about government spending being out of control, about the debt and the deficit and how we need to pay it off. But I always go back to this. There's always more money for the military, for mass deportations, and for border security, despite us having, by their own numbers now, the lowest border crossings in forever, successfully cracking down on fentanyl, and we've had the strongest military by and large for, since like World War II. So, like, just like, why can't we have things to materially improve the conditions of the average American? Why, in fact, are we actually allocating more money to defense while simultaneously cutting programs like Medicaid, Medicare, and not even getting into all of the agencies and such that he has cut through executive order, National Weather Service, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, even Social Security in terms of cutting staff for phone support and ending the leases for like half their offices around the country. It's always, we have to do this, we have to do that, because spending's out of control. There's so much fraud, waste, and abuse. Even though, like, for Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, it was like less than 1% was fraudulent. And like, oh no, some poor person's getting a little bit more money. But like ignoring that the Pentagon has failed like their last like 10 audits and can't account for like 60% of their money. But all I've heard was minor lip service about investigating the Pentagon. But no, there have been no real investigations and real meaningful measures to cut it. And we have their intentions right here. They want to give more money to the Pentagon, and that's obviously in the one big beautiful bill we've been covering about too, or talking about. So always money for war, never money for you, for programs that help you. A key part of Trump's plan is to place both missile sensing and missile destroying satellites into orbit above the Earth. The constellation would likely involve thousands of small satellites capable of attacking a missile in the moments after it launches from its submarine or silo. Such a vast network of satellites would have been unthinkable just a few years ago, but it seems at least theoretically within reach. Elon Musk, company SpaceX has been using low-cost rockets to launch a constellation of internet transmitting satellites known as Starlink. SpaceX says the Starlink system currently has around 7,000 satellites in orbit, a scale that is comparable to most estimates of what a limited space-based missile defense capability would require. I also think there's like, I don't know specifically, but there's like issues with just the Starlink satellites, like disrupting like certain monitoring and a lot of like space research. And now we're going to have double that up there plus whatever he adds. And there's the concern about debris. So yeah, but I don't recall a ton on that. So do your own research there. The overall Golden Dome effort is long overdue, says Tom Caracco, director of the Missile Defense Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Caracco concedes that space-based interception of incoming missiles is a wicked hard problem, but he says the reality is that the next large war will likely be fought partially above Earth's atmosphere. Given that reality, he thinks Golden Dome's capabilities will provide the U.S. with a robust defense that could also be used for anti-satellite warfare if needed. And like, I know there's been talks about China and I think Russia launching like, I don't know how confirmed this is, like their own like anti-satellite weapons, almost like satellites that are meant to take out other satellites. Um, yeah, this is like, I feel like this is going to be a big escalation in that front. So it's going to cause even more from our adversarial countries or countries that we deem adversarial. There's a need to contend with a whole lot of things that are in space, going through space. He says space-based missile defense has been a dream of politicians for decades. In 1983, Ronald Reagan announced plans for a system to intercept missiles from the then Soviet Union. I know this is a formidable task, one that may not be accomplished before the end of this century. Reagan said at the time it would take years, probably decades, of efforts on many fronts. In the end, the Soviet Union collapsed before anything approaching Reagan's vision could be realized, but missile defense have progressed. The U.S. Patriot missiles have worked for decades to intercept shorter range missiles, and the U.S. now has several systems capable of intercepting medium and intermediate range ballistic missiles. And it's not like we don't already have methods to intercept missiles. It also has a small number of interceptors capable of hitting ICBMs during the middle of their flight. That capability is aimed squarely at nuclear upstart North Korea. Other countries, namely Israel and Ukraine, have used missile defenses to protect themselves from attack in recent years. But intercepting intercontinental ballistic missiles in large numbers remains a far more difficult problem. ICBMs launch from deep inside enemy territory and scream back into Earth at hypersonic speeds, making them nearly impossible to hit at the end of the flight. They can also deploy decoys that can fool interceptors. The best time to hit them is when they're launching from their silos, but doing so requires an extremely quick response by space-based interceptors. Thousands of interceptors must be launched in order to ensure that one is passing above a missile when it launches. Whether the technology has, in fact, arrived is far from clear. The in-orbital system would be complex, costly, and ultimately vulnerable to counterattack. And yeah, regarding that part, the cost, I don't think, what they say, 125 billion. I don't think that's going to come even close. Like, what are we talking about? 125 billion. I feel like that is a gross, underestimate of how much it cost. It just leads me back to my initial point. Like, I just want healthcare, man. Like, I just want groceries to be cheap and to have better roads and high-speed rail. The U.S. has recently accused Russia of studying how to place nuclear warheads in orbit. Such a warhead could knock out large sections of any Golden Dome system in space, and the threats facing the U.S. are more diverse than ever. A recent report from the Defense Intelligence Agency showed that the Golden Dome would also have to contend with new and emerging threats like cruise missiles, hypersonic missiles that can skim the edge of space, and weapons known as fractional orbital bombardment systems, which can launch, glide through part of an orbit around Earth, and attack from any direction. The overall 175 billion. The overall price of the Golden Dome is far from certain. While the president says it could be done for 175 billion over 3 years, a recent estimate from the Congressional Budget Office put the cost at between 161 to 542 billion over 2 decades. Separately, Senator Tim Sheehy, Republican from Montana, who is heading a Golden Dome caucus, Jesus Christ, recently told a crowd that it will likely cost in the trillions if and when the Golden Dome is completed. Given the potential high costs, Grego hopes that Congress will take a careful look before giving the Trump administration money to pursue the system. The road to missile defense is littered with programs that were started and abandoned after some number of years. Grego said, I would ask the hard questions at the beginning before you go down this road. Listen, man, yeah, this sounds cool. And myself from probably 10 years ago would be like, hell yeah, this is awesome. But nowadays, I feel like this is just there's always going to be a way to just overcome this. And it's going to make the ways of destroying each other even more dangerous and unpredictable. The more we try to play this game of making ourselves impenetrable. And even if we could shoot down every nuke that came at us, which is not possible even with this Golden Dome, I mind you, like the rest of the world, like everything is still cooked. Like, so what do we need this for? Like, who's invading us? Who, like, we already have methods to shoot down missiles. Like, what the fuck are you preparing for? And this leads me to, like, maybe they're preparing for a war with China. This might be obvious to some, but maybe I'm just coping when I say no. But I feel like we're just blatantly preparing for all war with China, just based on the tariffs that we are implementing against them. And this plan, Russia, they might as well be our closest ally now, with Trump in charge. So it's just so dumb, man. Say what you want about China, but on the world stage, they're not even considered belligerent. We are the most belligerent country on the world stage, and like most likely if some world war broke out, it would probably be because of us. Like, and it's probably going to be with China because of us. So, oh man, I just want free healthcare, man. I just want everyone to have at least a livable wage if they work full time. I want everyone to have free, higher public education. I want high-speed rail. I want nice infrastructure. Like, we are so behind in so many areas, like wages. Like, almost every other developed country, at least in the Western sphere of influence, like European countries, they have some sort of like minimum wage that is livable. And if they don't have an official minimum wage, they have some sort of union negotiated wage. And obviously, pretty much every developed country, whether it be fucking Russia, China, El Salvador, and of course the entire European Union, they all have free healthcare of some form at the point of service. And they look at like things we're going through, like us being the number one cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. is medical debt, and that we have to pay like $1,500 for an ambulance. They look at that and they think we're kidding. They think we are being hyperbolic. Like, because it's so, like, just unfathomable and, like, just crazy because of the systems that they have that work, that we've been told all of our lives would never work here, despite us being the richest country in the world. Education, as far as I know, at least as far as Europe goes, free public education. And as far as at least, like, the places in Asia like China, Japan, they have really nice infrastructure, high-speed rail. I'm not sure what Europe's situation on high-speed rail. I know it's nowhere near as some of these like Southeast Asian countries, but like what are we doing? Like what the fuck are we doing? Like, I thought it was like America first. Like, I'm sorry, but this Golden Dome is not gonna improve anyone's lives. It's not. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. But yeah, the one sticking point I want you to take away from this video is they're always going to scream for cuts to non-defense programs, and there's always going to be an increase to defense programs in terms of budget. And that's just how it is. And it's crazy. I don't get it. It makes me so frustrated. All right, I digress. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.